today's English class. I hope you all are safe, healthy and happy at home. Today we are going to learn a poem, Chivvy. Chivvy means children to nag, to tell someone not to do something, particularly in an angry tone. I know this topic is something which is going to be very interesting for you because it is closely connected to your day-to-day life. I know, isn't it? Every day you might be hearing at home, don't sit like this, don't eat like this, don't talk while you're eating, don't do this, don't go there, okay? Don't shout, don't sleep like this, don't sit like this, okay? Keep yourself clean, don't wear your clothes like this, okay? So, these sentences are something which you don't like, I know, children. Because you feel that you are all the time being nagged by your parents, okay? Especially you feel that your mother always nags you at home and telling you always, don't do this, don't do that, don't go there, don't be like this, okay? I know it's something, which is very irritating for you. But children, let me tell you, whatever the parents tell you are just to make you good boys and girls, good children. Okay, the elders try to teach you good manners right from your childhood, so that you learn good manners and so that you behave yourself when you are in the classroom with your friends, with elders. Okay, so it's nothing but the efforts of parents to teach you good manners. But also, the parents must be polite when they teach good manners to children, because children don't like to be nagged all the time. So, this particular poem, children, Chivvy, is also about nagging, because the word Chivvy itself, means to nag. As I told you, to tell someone not to do this or not to do that, especially in an angry tone. And this poem has been written by Michael Rosen. Now children, Michael Rosen, when he was 5 years old, you know what happened? His mother took him to a school, for his admission in a school. So when Michael's mother took him to a school for admission, the teacher asked Michael, how does your mother call you, child? Every mother calls their child, they have a pet name at home, with love, they call their children with different names. So the teacher also asked Michael, now tell me, how does your mother call you at home? You know what answer did Michael give, children? He said, don't. Okay? And this answer he gave very confidently and quickly. Now, can you imagine, children, why did Michael say that his mother called him don't? Because he felt his mother always nagged him. Right? Don't do this, don't sit like this, don't eat like this, don't sleep like this, don't read like this, don't do this, don't speak like this, don't speak loudly. Okay, so all the time using this word for nagging. Don't do this, don't do that. So he got used to this word don't so much that when he was 5 years old, he told the teacher that My mother calls me don't. Isn't that funny, children? Now, you also might be experiencing these kind of naggings at your own home, in the surroundings also, maybe elders telling you, don't spit on the road, don't dirty your surroundings, don't throw the garbages here, right? All the time you listen to this. And I know you all are good children. You must obey your elders and listen to them and try to become good children. So let's move on to the poem. Please open your text if you have, or you can even look at the screen. So let's move on to the poem and try to understand. Grown-ups say things like, speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. Now, grown-ups here means children, elders. Elders could be your parents, could be your relatives, could be your uncles, your aunts, okay? So, grown-ups say things like this. What do they say? What do they tell children? Speak up, okay? When children don't talk, they are quiet, they ask them to speak up. You please speak, why don't you talk? And they also say, don't talk with your mouth full. You know, children have the habit of keeping things in their mouth and talking. Okay? So what would happen, children, if you talk with food in your mouth? Maybe you can spill the food on someone else. Okay? The food can get choked. You can have a problem, okay, with your throat. And also it is not a good manner to talk with food in your mouth. So the elders tell you, don't talk with your mouth full. Don't stare. Don't stare means don't keep looking at people like this. Okay? Don't stare. It's not a good manner. Don't point. You know, we have a habit of pointing fingers on people. That uncle, that auntie. Right? So your parents tell you, don't point your fingers on people. Don't pick your nose. Okay? So they keep instructing you all the time. Don't do this, don't do that. Speak up, don't talk with your mouth full. Don't stare, don't point. Don't pick your nose. Okay? Sit up, say please. Less noise. Shut the door behind you. Don't drag your feet. Haven't you got a hanky? Take your hands out of your pockets. Now, what else do elders tell you, children? Sit up. They don't want you to sit, in an improper manner. They ask you to sit. They often ask you to sit straight in a proper posture. So they say, sit up. And they also tell you, say please. Okay? They tell you, you must use words like please. Okay? Sorry, thank you. So they teach you good manners. They ask you to speak politely. Learn to say please. And make less noise. Don't shout. Elders don't like children shouting and making noise all the time. So they ask you to make less noise. Shut the door behind you. Whenever you pass, through there, you should shut the door. You shouldn't keep the door open. So they ask you to shut the door. Don't drag your feet. Children have the habit of dragging their feet while walking. So that's not a good manner. So they ask you not to drag your feet when you are walking. Haven't you got a hanky? They tell you to keep a hanky with you always. Or most of them children, they have the habit of, wiping their mouth and nose with their clothes, the clothes which they are wearing. So the elders keep nagging and they tell them to keep a hanky with them. So you should have a hanky with you. Haven't you got a hanky to keep yourself clean? To clean your mouth, to clean your nose, to clean your face? Okay? Take your hands out. Take your hands out of your pockets. So children have a habit of keeping their hands in their pockets. So elders don't like that. When children come in front of elders, so they don't want them to keep their hands in their pockets. Okay? So they tell, please take your hands out of your pockets. Pull your socks up. Stand up straight. Say thank you. Don't interrupt. Now pull your socks up. Wear your socks properly. Many times children have the habit of keeping their socks, they roll it down. So pull your socks up. Stand up straight. Even when you're standing, you should be standing straight. Okay? And you should say thank you. And don't interrupt. Children many a times when elders are talking, elders are having their conversation, children have the habit of interrupting them. So elders don't like this, and it is not a good habit, children. It's not a good manner to interrupt the elders or to talk, when the elders are talking. So they say, please don't interrupt. Okay? Now, no one thinks you are funny. Take your elbows off the table. When you sit on the table, children, you have the habit of keeping your elbows like this and sitting on the table. So they say, take your elbows off the table. And no one thinks you are funny. Now, when do the elders tell that no one thinks you are funny? Because children sometimes try to act funny, they try to crack jokes, okay, in front of the elders. And maybe they feel the elders will become happy if they crack jokes or they try to act funny. But here, since the elders are trying always, nagging children, so the elders try to tell them, no one thinks you are funny. Okay? And take your elbows off the table. Can't you make your own mind up about anything? So, the last two lines, children, they actually, are different from the other lines in the poem. The lines before the last two lines talk about the way the elders nag children. Don't do this, don't do that, sit up straight, learn to say thank you, say sorry, don't interrupt, okay? And nobody thinks you are funny. Take off your elbows off the table. So all the lines before the last two lines talk about nagging. But the last two lines, they are not actually meant for nagging the children. But, in the last two lines, the elders are, telling the children that you can't decide anything for yourself. You can't make up your mind. That means you can't decide what to do and what not to do. You can't decide, what is good, what is bad. You are always confused. You can't take any decision. So, elders want to tell the children that, they are always confused. They can't do things in a proper manner. So, they are not actually nagging. So, I hope children you have understood the poem, and while we are trying to understand the poem, you might be imagining your own situation at home, how your own parents nag you, how sometimes your teachers too nag you, and your elders, your relatives, keep nagging you all the time. So, you must remember that it's just to teach you good manners, children. Try to teach you to be good all the time. Okay? If you are good children, everybody will like you, they will love you, okay? And you also will be happy. Okay. So now children, after reading the poem, you must try to understand what the poet is trying to tell us. As I told you in the beginning, even the poet himself told the teacher that his mother called him don't. So please don't tell your teachers that your mother calls you don't. Okay? So try to obey your elders and try to learn good things, good values from your elders. So children, you must read the poem very carefully, and also you must look at the question answers that are given at the back of the textbook. Okay, and children, I have told you before also that from the poem you can get extract based questions in the examination. You can get any extract from the poem, and there can be questions. So you must read the extract very carefully, and for that you must read the poem very carefully, all the stanzas very carefully, look at the difficult words and try to understand what the poet is trying to tell us through this poem. What is the message of the poem? Okay, and you know, what do the different stanzas mean, so that you are able to answer the extract based questions very well. Now let's look at one extract based question so that you get an idea of how to attempt the extract based question. Read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow. Okay? Sit up, say please, less noise, shut the door behind you. Haven't you got a hanky? Take your hands out of your pockets. Now this is one of the stanzas of the poem. Okay? Now what is the first question? Name the poem and the poet. So children, when the stanza is taken from the poem, so there can be a question asking who is the poet and from which poem these lines have been taken. So you must remember the name of all the poems that are there in your textbook, name of the poets too. Here the name of the poem is Chivvy and the poet is Michael Rosen. Now, the second question is, what does walking by dragging mean, or what does it suggest instead? Here, when the elders are asking children not to drag their feet while walking. So what does it mean? Why do they say like that? Because it's not a good manner. Walking by dragging suggests that it's not a good manner. So children should not drag their feet while they are walking. Now who is giving the above instructions? Some elders, you can say an elderly person, or the elders are giving these instructions. Now to whom are these instructions being given? Naturally, these instructions are being given to children, or if you want to write in the singular form, you can say these instructions are being given to a child. And even in the third question you can say an elderly person is giving the above instructions. Now, find the opposites of stand and open from the above stanza. Now children, you can get vocabulary based questions. You can be asked to find out the rhyming words from the stanzas, okay? Or you can be asked to find out the meanings of words, you know, which words in the above stanza means this, or what is the meaning of this phrase from the stanza, or the opposite words, okay? So here you have been asked to find out the opposites of stand and open. So you can see there is a word in the beginning of the stanza, sit up. So the opposite of stand is sit. and you can see the line here in the above stanza, shut the door behind. So what would be the opposite of shut? The opposite of shut the door is open the door. So the opposite of open from the above stanza is shut. Opposite of stand is sit, and the opposite of open is shut. So in this way, children, you must try to answer the questions related to an extract from the poem. So you should also enrich your vocabulary. You should know the meaning of a lot of words, and especially when you are reading the poem, you must look at the words and phrases and try to understand their meanings. And also, as I told you, the rhyming words, you must write down in your notebook the rhyming words in the poem, if at all there are rhyming words, the opposite words, okay? And also, children, many a times there can be questions related to prefixes and suffixes. You have learnt about the prefix and the suffix, okay? Prefix means the words which are added before the word, and suffix the words which are added after the word to form words. For example, wanted, W-A-N-T, want, and when you add ed, it becomes wanted. So ed is the suffix, okay? So in the same way, if you add some words, okay, disappear, okay, there is a word A-P-P-E-A-R, appear. So when you add D-I-S to appear, it becomes disappear. So D-I-S is the prefix that has been added before the word appear. So you can be asked to find out words, with prefixes and suffixes in the stanza. Okay, so I hope, children, you have learned how to answer the extract based questions. Apart from that, there can also be simple questions from the poem, okay, that you would be able to answer if you read the poem very carefully. So I hope you enjoyed the poem. I'll see you in the next class with a new topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.